Hello, I'm Doug McConnell, and we've got some great discoveries for you out here along the open road.
We'll explore one of California's most mysterious geological wonders, graced by ancient birds with the widest wingspans in North America.
That's always just pure magic.
We'll follow the sensational Sonoma coast in search of protected natural treasures and big new ideas for us to enjoy and fall in love with. My son Patrick will share some of his favorite outdoor memories while working with us on Open Road. And these lands are not just nice for us to have, they're essential. About 125 miles south of San Francisco, sentinels of Earth's dramatic power rise high above the fabled San Andreas Fault.
The geology is very tangible. It's right in your face. You're interacting with the landscape as you hike.
These mysterious spires demonstrate geology's perpetual motion and the many natural wonders it creates.
It's just got such a variety of things that you can find.
This unique wonderland of nature and geology, Pinnacles National Park, is easily accessible and well interpreted for all of us to enjoy.
Oh, these strangely magnificent rock formations behind me here, formed by volcanic activity millions of years ago, and then eons and eons of erosion, are at the heart of an intimate national park that feels very remote, but is so very near the Bay Area. Oh, it is jam-packed with natural wonders of all kinds, including an ancient relic of our past with a wingspan 9.5 feet long, still soaring in the skies of California.
Pinnacles National Park has two entrances. The west entrance is near Soledad in the mountains above Salinas Valley. But we begin our exploration near the east entrance south of Hollister during the pandemic, when some of the park was closed to the general public.
Pinnacles is kind of a fascinating story in that it has helped understand the idea of plate tectonics and fault lines.
Park Ranger Alicia Welch has spent the past 20 years exploring and caring for nature here, currently as acting program manager for the Pinnacles Condor Program.
The rocks here are what is considered the remnants of an ancient volcanic field.
Formed millions of years ago and nearly 200 miles south of here, these remnants of prehistoric volcanic activity rode the Pacific Plate along the ever-moving San Andreas Fault northwestward to this very spot, sculpted by wind and water along the way.
I love how there are so many different little micro habitats here.
The rugged complexity of the Pinnacles and their surrounding wild terrain create many niches for nature to flourish in dizzying diversity. About 500 species of bees buzz in the park, the greatest diversity in the entire world. The nooks and crannies of the Pinnacles also provide perfect habitats for the fastest animal on Earth, the peregrine falcon, and an iconic bird with a 9.5-foot wingspan, the widest in North America, the California condor.
It's always just incredible to be out where you can have them flying overhead, be up in the rocks and have them circle around, and maybe if you're lucky land somewhere nearby. That's always just pure magic.
Thanks to many public and nonprofit partners, including the National Park Service and the Ventana Wildlife Society, condors have been retrieved from the brink of extinction over the past 30 years, when the wild population was down to a precious few.
We have one nest here in the park that we've been keeping an eye on. That's always the really inspirational and fun stuff, because you have the promise of more condors coming out into the world on their own, and it's really pretty amazing to see that.
There are now close to 100 condors soaring above Central California.
In the whole state, you have a couple hundred, which is a whole lot better than 22. But they aren't quite out of the woods yet.
Condors forage exclusively on carcasses of dead animals, some shot by hunters using lead ammunition. Lead poisoning kills the birds, and slows the recovery of the condor's population. Eliminating lead from ammunition would allow them to flourish.
The goal, of course, for a big recovery program is to get yourself out of a job. We're not quite there yet, but those moments where you're up and just seeing these birds back in an area that they should be, that they used to be, and behaving like you would expect them, like they did before, that's what it's all about.
Natural wonders abound here, and so does human history, including at the old Bacon family homestead.
It's really through the love that visitors have for these public lands that we're able to do the work and have the impact that we do.
Jen Westfall is executive director of the Pinnacles National Park Foundation, the park's nonprofit partner, which joined another nonprofit, the Fund for People in Parks, to raise private financial support to help the National Park Service fulfill its educational objectives here.
We work hand in hand with our partners in the National Park Service to fund projects that otherwise wouldn't be able to happen.
The foundation and the fund collaborated to develop brochures and install these interpretive panels telling the story of early California ranch life beneath the pinnacles.
We want to make it so that the visitor will have a good experience every time they come to the park, no matter where they are visiting in the park.
From the Pinnacles' east entrance, it's about an hour-and-a-half drive to its west entrance, worth every minute and every mile.
It's only on this side that you really get those setting sun colors playing across the rock. It's just, the rock lights up, it's fiery, it's beautiful.
We meet Ranger Chris Simons at the end of the day for a little stroll to see some of the biggest views in California.
The parks are for all. That's the core mission of the parks. They were founded on the idea that public lands are for everyone. And we're aware of the fact that hiking trails are not always truly accessible to everyone.
We head out in lovely light on a new state-of-the-art ADA accessible path, graced by more fascinating educational panels about nature, geology, and history here, provided by generous donors to the Fund for People in Parks and the Pinnacles National Park Foundation.
The Pruitt Point Loop is the newest trail here at Pinnacles. So it's really smooth, but it's also gorgeous, and this 1 mile paved, very accessible loop happens to offer some of the best views of the Pinnacles rocks in the entire park.
Soon enough, we savor the prehistoric wonders that motivated Teddy Roosevelt to protect the Pinnacles in 1908. A wise decision then, and especially valuable now.
You get away from developed California, and you start going through these hillsides, these narrow roads, these historic ranch lands, these historic grasslands, and all of a sudden you do feel like you're stepping back in time to a historic California.
For more information about Pinnacles National Park and its nonprofit partners, go to NBCBayArea.com/open-road. When we come back, the natural glories of the Sonoma Coast for us to explore. Some of my son's favorite outdoor discoveries while working on the show. And these lands are our lands, and we need them more than ever. Open Road is made possible by the generous support of our underwriters, dedicated to protecting our natural and historical treasures in the Bay Area and beyond. Additional support is provided by these institutions, also caring for our special environmental and cultural legacies and making them accessible to each and every one of us, now and for all time. Sonoma County is beyond beautiful, with many public parks and open spaces, protecting nature and giving us all sanctuaries to soothe our souls and enhance our health in challenging times.
Our world continues to be evolving in front of our eyes, to be sometimes very challenging with things like a global pandemic. These are those places that will keep us grounded and keep our heads clear as we need to make the decisions for the future to sustain our world, our quality of life, and all those things we hold near and dear in our lives.
Sonoma County now has more than 50 very diverse regional parks, including a special few with a land and sea forge a perfect partnership.
Well, that's a legacy the people of Sonoma can be proud of and we can all enjoy. And it is a legacy that's growing.
We follow Highway 1 north of Jenner, stopping first at Stillwater Cove Regional Park before heading to Gualala Point Regional Park, where an exciting new project is underway.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm guided by the director of Sonoma Regional Parks, Bert Whitaker. We observe public health guidelines during the pandemic.
Stillwater Cove is one of these amazing little nuggets along our northern Sonoma County coastline. Right now we're in this amazing coastal Redwood Canyon. This has got some old growth trees, and you can see some of the evidence as you walk around the park. And the second growth here looks really, really happy, and it looks forward to a very bright future, and we need that future. Often we call this the lungs of Sonoma County. I mean, but this is part of that area that's really taking that carbon that we so desperately need to sequester and putting it back in the ground and putting it in a way that's cooling the ground and creating all this biodiversity and just amazing things for us to enjoy as humans, but for the natural world it needs it right now more than ever. These are such important places.
Stillwater Cove Park is a small slice of coastal heaven, and after camping here, it's no wonder Bert fell in love with Sonoma County.
When I first found Sonoma County 25 years ago, this is one of the places I stopped along the coast and spent a few nights and really understood how amazing Northern California can be. And being a kid from Texas who stumbled across my first redwood forest, you feel it. You feel the temperature. You feel the sensation change in your body. I mean, the smell of the redwood forest and the sounds are just different. It's unlike any other experience you can have.
As we descend through a grand garden of ferns and towering trees, the sounds of the sea slowly beckon.
You know, you're just in the redwoods and 10 steps across and suddenly you're out here to this amazing cove and access to the ocean. There's so many critters out here, and low tide out here is actually really nice with all the rocks near the shoreline. There is some great tide pooling out here. To come out here and just sort of take a breath of fresh air and see how incredibly majestic the Sonoma County coastline is. And it is always beautiful, and there's always a story every time you come out here to spend some time. You will take something away with you that is very important.
Taking with us sweet Stillwater memories, we journey to Gualala Point Regional Park on the far northwestern tip of Sonoma County, where the Gualala River flows unfettered into the sea. The park has about 3 miles of trails, some ADA accessible, down to the river and beach and along coastal bluffs into the neighboring Sea Ranch community. Gualala Point is a quiet slice of nature's magic, with new tricks coming soon.
You know, the Gualala River is just this amazing watershed that is still mostly intact to this day. I mean, regional parks and so many amazing partners are focused on making sure the Gualala River has a bright future.
The Gualala River is one of the undammed rivers in California that exit the sea. So we have the free flow for the anadromous fish like the steelhead and the salmon, and that recognition by every agency that has walked on this property and stood and looked down at Mill Bend, they get it. You bring people to the river, and the river sells herself.
Bert and I meet up with Kathleen Chasey with the Redwood Coast Land Conservancy. The Conservancy, Sonoma Regional Parks, and a large coalition of public, nonprofit, and philanthropic partners have big plans to secure and restore 113 acres of old decommissioned logging land called Mill Bend on both sides of the river to benefit nature and us in many ways.
The Gualala estuary is a little unusual in that it's a bar-built estuary, so it opens and closes. When it opens in the fall, then the salmon and the steelhead will come in to finally go upriver to hopefully very successfully breed in the upper parts of the watershed.
New trails along the river and into redwoods nearby will give us more access to the natural delights and human history of Mill Bend.
We're going to recognize the value of the estuary and how, with restoration, this is one of the last great hopes for the coho salmon returning to the Central California coast. That is one of the big prizes. The other obvious prize is to take the California Coastal Trail, which we're standing on right here, and hook it up from Gualala through Mill Bend, come through the regional park, get on the coastal trail, go upriver, and actually access all of that.
Mill Bend's project partners are on the home stretch of an ambitious financial campaign to make all this happen.
We ignited a fire that you wouldn't believe, Doug. And the first stop was Sonoma County Regional Parks.
There's just so many partners out here working together trying to get this access really perfected over time so that the public can come out here and really have that once in a lifetime or more than once in a lifetime experience out on our Sonoma County coastline. Our regional parks, really, our philosophy on this is get people to those places, give them those moments of awe out in nature and foster that love.
That romance for all of us will surely deepen and expand in the years ahead, including eventually on new coastal trail segments south of Gualala Point, developed in partnership with the Kashaya Band of Pomo Indians across their sacred land.
It is such an amazing story there of thousands of years of native peoples living off this land and being able to sustain themselves off this land, and totally presents this really unique opportunity at a very significant and meaningful scale to educate the public and continue putting together this system of interconnected parks and open spaces and trails, and ever more so really with this urgent need to be more equitable in our approach, to connect these places to those communities that have historically had less access to getting out into open spaces, to reconnect tribal citizens with pieces of their history and share them and just celebrate how we are going to need to work together in the present and the future to be successful sustaining this natural world around us as our world evolves.
For more information, go to NBCBayArea.com/open-road. When we come back, some of my son's favorite outdoor locations along the open road and celebrating our essential public lands. A great joy for me has been having my son Patrick working with us on open road part-time after 5 years of living mostly overseas. He's participated in a couple of stories, produced social media for us, and provided drone footage which has enriched quite a few of our stories. He's had a chance to rediscover the beauty and diversity of the Bay Area's magnificent public parks and open spaces, and see his childhood home with fresh adult eyes. Patrick, it has been a blast working with you this season, and we have seen some great things. We just got back from the North Sonoma coast. What were your thoughts about that?
The north coast of Sonoma County is one of my favorite environments truly in the world. It's so dramatic, it's so moody, it's got this whole aura about it, and you've got the coastline, the beautiful drive along Highway 1, and then if you want some peace and quiet, you can head off into the Redwoods, which are these living giants that are just so tranquil and really create this sense of ease.
It is spectacular. Yeah. That's one place. Mount Diablo in the East Bay. Very different. A place you didn't know all that well. We've been filming over there. You've been shooting drone shots over there. What's your sense of Mount Diablo?
I mean, once again, another stunning location. Growing up over in Marin, I didn't spend as much time out there when I was younger. And now that I'm back, I want to go out there all the time. You know, go mountain biking, hiking, horseback riding. It's crazy. The Golden Hills are beautiful, and it is such a dream to have this spot so accessible to everybody who lives over there.
And it changes every season. Wintertime, you can have snow on top of the mountain. Springtime, it's green, the flowers are out. Boy, what a great spot. But going back home, you're raised in Marin, and you've been there with us also filming in Marin this year. What's your sense of the place you grew up, but now seeing it maybe with these adult eyes of yours?
I've been so fortunate to go off and explore the world and see all these beautiful places, but every time I come home, you can go on to any one of the peaks out there in Marin, and immediately you're greeted with one of the best views in the world. Truly, like, you know, maybe biased, but honestly, it is amazing out there. And so to come back with a fresh pair of eyes, it's stunning, really.
We are very lucky people, and more broadly, as you look at these great public lands and open spaces that have been protected for all of us, what's the value in these places that, as you've seen during the pandemic?
It is so crucial to be able to have such amazing nature in our backyard like this. It is one of the few places we can truly find solace and peace these days during these crazy times.
Crazy times, but times that maybe can bring us together in our public lands that belong to each and every one of us for our health, our well-being,
health of our communities. Patrick, it's been a joy being with you. Let's go have some good times together.
Love it.
I'm ready.
Let's go.
When we come back, celebrating and supporting our public lands. Open Road is made possible by the generous support of our underwriters, dedicated to protecting our natural and historical treasures in the Bay Area and beyond. Additional support is provided by these institutions, also caring for our special environmental and cultural legacies and making them accessible to each and every one of us, now and for all time. The vast protected landscapes of the Bay Area have long been one of our region's prime public assets, giving opportunities for everyone to get outdoors into nature near their homes to benefit their health and well-being, and forge bonds with others that strengthen the health and well-being of our diverse communities. When the COVID-19 pandemic hit hard in the spring of 2020, many people rushed right away to their public parks and open spaces to seek fresh air, exercise, and the healing powers of nature. In some cases, these already popular parks saw a sudden 200% increase in visitation. Managing these crowds so that everyone could remain safe and healthy created some big challenges for park managers. But the positive message was as loud and clear as it's ever been. Free and easy access to nature's wonders is not just nice to have, it's essential to have, providing critical public health services we all want and need and can't do without. Thankfully, these beloved public parks and open spaces of ours and the many health values they provide belong to all of us equally and can help bring us together as we seek to build a more perfect and healthy union. Well, I know we face tough economic times ahead, but I dearly hope we make a priority of strengthening our commitment to our public lands to enhance the health of nature, the health of our communities, and the health of each and every one of us, and those who will follow in our footsteps. Well, that's our show. Hope you enjoyed it. I'm Doug McConnell, and we'll see you next time right here with more discoveries along the open road.